The clock in the mansion struck 11 when Hope, a domestic employee, decided to head back inside. She had forgotten her favorite cardigan in the kitchen and needed it against the chilly night air. Having worked for the Harrison family for many years, she knew every corner of the magnificent estate. Mr. Harrison, the owner of the house, was known throughout the city as a ruthless businessman, a magnate who owned a chain of luxury hotels spanning the country. Hope had always admired Mr. Harrison's impeccable style, a man with perfectly coiffed silver hair and piercing blue eyes that radiated an air of natural authority. Yet, in all her years working for him, she had never seen him show any emotion. He was polite but distant, generous with his staff's salaries but reserved in his personal dealings. As she unlocked the back door, Hope expected the mansion to be cloaked in its usual nocturnal silence, but something was different. A faint light emanated from the main living room, accompanied by a sound she had never heard in this house before, the quiet sobs of an adult man. With her heart pounding, Hope crept cautiously toward the living room. What she saw left her completely frozen. There in the center of the elegant room was Mr. Harrison, kneeling on the marble floor, holding a pristine white wedding dress in his arms. Tears streamed uncontrollably down his face as he stroked the delicate fabric with a tenderness that starkly contrasted with his formidable public persona. The dress was a work of art. French lace intertwined with tiny pearls created patterns that seemed to dance under the soft lamplight. The hand-embroidered silver thread bodice shimmered gently, while the skirt cascaded like a waterfall of silk and tulle. It was clearly an expensive gown, but more than that, it was evident it had been chosen with immense love. Hope felt she was intruding on a deeply private moment. She tried to back away silently, but the creak of her shoes on the parquet floor gave her away. Mr. Harrison looked up abruptly, his bloodshot eyes meeting hers. For an instant, time stood still. The powerful CEO, now vulnerable and broken, clutched the dress as if it were the most precious thing in the world. "Hope," he rasped, making no attempt to hide his tears. "You shouldn't be here so late." I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison," she stammered, feeling a mix of compassion and unease. "I forgot my cardigan and didn't know you." Mr. Harrison looked down at the dress in his arms and then back at Hope. Something in his expression shifted, as if he had made an internal decision. "It was for my daughter," he said, his voice cracking. "For Luna. It was her wedding dress." Hope's heart sank. In all her years of working at the mansion, she had seen the photographs of a beautiful young woman with golden hair and a radiant smile gracing the walls of his study, but she had never asked about her. Now she understood why the house always had an air of hidden melancholy. "She was the most beautiful person in the world," Mr. Harrison continued, caressing the lace of the dress. "She had eyes as green as emeralds and a laugh that could light up any room. She was an architect, you know. She designed homes for young families. Said she wanted to create places where people could be happy." Hope moved closer, her own eyes welling up with tears at the sight of her boss's raw, heartbreaking grief. What happened to her, sir?" Mr. Harrison closed his eyes as if the words were daggers to his chest. "An accident. A drunk driver hit her car as she was leaving the bridal boutique. She was on her way to pick up this dress for the final fitting. Her wedding was scheduled for the following week." Silence filled the room, broken only by Mr. Harrison's contained sobs. Hope had never imagined that behind her boss's facade of success and power lay such a profound tragedy. "Every night, I come here," Mr. Harrison confessed, looking at the dress as if it could bring his daughter back. "I hold this dress and imagine what Luna would have looked like walking down the aisle. She was so happy with Amelia, her fiancé. They had planned a small wedding in the garden of this house, under the rose bush Luna had planted as a child." Hope's heart ached for him. "Mr. Harrison, I am so sorry." "Marina, Luna's mother, couldn't handle it," Mr. Harrison continued, as if the floodgates of his soul had opened after years of silence. "She left right after the funeral. She said this house held too many memories, that she couldn't see Luna's photographs without falling apart. I understand her, but I can't leave. This is the only place I still feel close to her." Mr. Harrison's tears fell onto the dress, absorbed by the fabric like raindrops on white petals. Hope realized this man, who commanded a business empire with an iron fist, was in reality a shattered father who had never been able to process his loss. "Can I ask you something, sir?" Hope wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. "Why do you keep the dress here? Doesn't it hurt to see it?" Mr. Harrison looked toward Luna's photographs on the mantelpiece. "At first I thought about donating it or putting it in the attic, but then I realized this dress represents all the dreams Luna had, her hopes, her future, her love for Amelia. If I put it away, it's like I'm burying those dreams too, and those dreams are all I have left of her." Hope felt a deep admiration for this man who had found such a beautiful, though painful, way to keep his daughter's memory alive. "She would be so proud of you, sir, for not forgetting, for keeping her love alive." Mr. Harrison looked up, and for the first time Hope saw something other than pain in his eyes. There was a glimmer of something that resembled hope. "You think so?" he asked in a childlike voice, as if he were a boy seeking comfort. "I'm sure of it," Hope replied with conviction. "A daughter always wants her father to be happy, and keeping beautiful memories alive is a form of love." Mr. Harrison hugged the dress tighter, as if he were holding Luna one last time. In that moment, Hope understood that she had witnessed something sacred, the unconditional love of a father who refused to let go of his daughter, even in death. "Hope," Mr. Harrison said after a long silence, Could you stay for a moment? I don't like talking about Luna with strangers, but you've been a part of this house for so long. It's as if you're family." Hope nodded, sitting on the sofa near where Mr. Harrison remained on the floor with the dress. "Of course, Mr. Harrison, for as long as you need." And so began a conversation that would forever change the relationship between the grieving millionaire and his compassionate employee. A conversation that would reveal secrets guarded for years and set in motion a chain of events neither of them could have ever imagined. What Hope didn't know was that this night was only the beginning of a much more complex story. A story where the wedding dress held secrets that could change not only Mr. Harrison's life, but the destiny of many others. In the quiet of the mansion, as hours passed and confidences were shared, something was about to be revealed that would put everything into perspective and give an unexpected twist to this tale of love, loss, and redemption. In the weeks that followed that revealing night, something changed deeply in the dynamic of the Harrison mansion. Mr. Harrison began to seek out moments to talk with Hope, as if he had found in her the only person in the world who could understand his pain without judgment. Hope, for her part, developed a maternal compassion for this powerful man who had revealed himself to be a wounded soul. "Hope," Mr. Harrison said one afternoon, while she was organizing the books in the library, "could you come with me to the garden? I want to show you something." They walked together to the mansion's sprawling backyard, where a magnificent rosebush stood in the center, its white and pink flowers creating a spectacle of natural beauty. Mr. Harrison stopped in front of it, his eyes shining with a mix of pride and melancholy. "Luna planted this rosebush when she was just 10, he explained, gently touching one of the petals. "She said she wanted it to be the most beautiful in the world because she would get married here one day." I laughed. I thought it was a child's fantasy, but she was completely serious. Every day she would water it, take care of it, talk to it as if it were her best friend. Hope observed the roses, noting how they seemed to glow with a special light under the afternoon sun. "It's beautiful, Mr. Harrison. You can tell it was cared for with a lot of love." "After the accident," Mr. Harrison continued, his voice trembling, "I thought about pulling it up. It hurt me to see it. It constantly reminded me of the wedding that would never be. But Marina stopped me before she left. She said Luna would never forgive me if I destroyed something she had created with so much love." Mr. Harrison sat on a wrought iron bench strategically placed to contemplate the rosebush. Hope sat beside him, feeling the weight of the trust he had placed in her. "You know what's strangest?" Mr. Harrison asked, looking up at the sky. "Since the accident, this rosebush has bloomed more than ever. The gardeners say they've never seen anything like it. It's as if Luna is still taking care of it from wherever she is." Hope felt a thrill of emotion. "Maybe she is taking care of it, sir. True love doesn't die with people." Mr. Harrison looked at her with teary eyes. "You really believe that?" "With all my heart," Hope responded without hesitation. It was then that Mr. Harrison made a decision that would change the course of their lives forever. "Something else you need to know about Luna. Hope. Something I've never told anyone. Not even Marina. Hope's heart began to beat faster. If you think I should know, sir. Mr. Harrison took a deep breath before continuing. Luna wasn't just an architect, she was also a woman full of secrets. A few days before the accident, she came to me very upset. She said she had discovered something in her work, something that could get all of us in trouble. What kind of trouble? Hope asked, feeling she was wading into deeper waters than she had ever imagined. Luna worked for an architectural firm that designed malls for my hotel chain, Mr. Harrison explained. One day while reviewing some blueprints, she realized that some of the buildings had been constructed with faulty materials. Materials that could be dangerous to guests. Hope gasped. And she wanted to report it? Exactly. Luna was incapable of keeping silent about something like that. She came to me because she knew I had the power to stop everything, to demand the buildings be rebuilt with safe materials. But Mr. Harrison stopped, his voice broken by shame. What happened? Hope prompted gently. I told her to wait, that we needed to think things through before acting. Those buildings represented millions of dollars, and temporarily closing them would mean huge losses. I asked her to give me a little more time to find a solution that wouldn't ruin the company. Tears began to roll down Mr. Harrison's cheeks. Luna was furious with me. She told me I was putting money above people's safety, that I had raised a better man than that. It was the last conversation we had before the accident. Hope felt as if the world had stopped around her. Do you think the accident? I don't know, Mr. Harrison interrupted quickly. The investigators said it was a drunk driver, but Luna had mentioned that some people at the architectural firm weren't happy with her discoveries. She had received some strange calls, some veiled threats. The silence stretched between them as the implications of those words settled in Hope's mind. What did you do after the accident? I closed all the buildings immediately, Mr. Harrison replied firmly. I spent millions rebuilding them with the best materials available, but it was too late. Luna was already gone, and I would have to live forever with the guilt of not having listened to my daughter when she needed me. Hope placed a comforting hand on Mr. Harrison's shoulder. You did the right thing in the end. Luna would be proud. You think so? Mr. Harrison asked with the voice of a lost child. I'm sure of it, Hope replied, and I know she would understand why you hesitated. Making tough decisions is part of being a parent, of being human. Mr. Harrison looked toward Luna's rose bush, and for the first time in a long time, a small smile appeared on his face. You know, Hope, since that night you found me crying, I've started to feel something I haven't felt since the accident. What's that, sir? Hope, he said simply. For the first time, I have hope that maybe I can find a way to honor Luna's memory in a way she would truly approve of. It was then that Mr. Harrison revealed the points he had been developing in his mind over the past few weeks. Hope, I want to do something special with Luna's wedding dress, something she would have loved. What do you have in mind? Hope asked, intrigued. I want to create a program to help young couples who can't afford a proper wedding. I want to use some of my fortune to make the wedding dreams of couples in love come true. Couples who, like Luna and Amelia, just want to celebrate their love but don't have the resources. Hope's eyes filled with tears of emotion. Mr. Harrison, that's beautiful, but what does the dress have to do with it? Mr. Harrison smiled, and Hope realized it was the first genuine smile she had seen from him since she met him. Every bride we help will have the opportunity to wear Luna's dress at her wedding if she wants to. It will be as if Luna is present at every ceremony, sharing her love and joy with other women in love. Hope was speechless for a moment, overwhelmed by the beauty and generosity of the idea. That's the most beautiful idea I've ever heard. But you think Luna would approve? Mr. Harrison asked, still unsure. Mr. Harrison, Hope said with conviction, I am absolutely sure Luna would not only approve, but she would be radiant with happiness. You are transforming your pain into love for others. That's exactly what a daughter like her would want you to do. Mr. Harrison stood up, walking toward the rose bush and gently touching one of the most beautiful flowers. Then it's decided. We'll start immediately, but I'll need your help, Hope. My help? She asked, surprised. You'll be the one to help me select the couples, to make sure the dress is perfect for each bride, to ensure every
you accept
detail
that
is exactly
responsibility?
as Luna would have wanted. Hope felt her heart was going to explode with emotion. It would be an honor, Mr. Harrison, the greatest honor of my life. As they planned the details of this special project, neither of them imagined that someone had been observing their conversations from the shadows. In a second-floor window of the mansion, a figure was hidden behind the curtains, listening to every word with a mix of fascination and something that dangerously resembled obsession. It was Amelia, Luna's former fiancée, who had secretly returned to the city. After learning that Mr. Harrison had kept the wedding dress, she had struggled for months with her own demons, unable to accept the death of the woman she loved, and now she had come back to reclaim what she considered rightfully hers, the dress Luna should have worn when she became her wife. But upon hearing Mr. Harrison's plans to use the dress to help other brides, Amelia was consumed by a fury that completely overwhelmed her. In her mind, distorted by pain, that dress was sacred, untouchable, and should forever remain as a sanctuary to Luna's memory. "I won't allow it," she whispered to herself, clenching her fists until her knuckles turned white. "That dress belongs to Luna, only to Luna, and if she can't have it, no one else should ever be able to touch it." Unbeknownst to Mr. Harrison or Hope, Amelia began to plan her own way to protect the wedding dress, a plan that would endanger not only the beautiful project they had just conceived, but also the growing friendship between the grieving millionaire and his compassionate employee. Meanwhile, in the garden, Mr. Harrison and Hope continued to discuss the details of their project, unaware of the danger looming over them. The first couple would be selected the following week, and they had already started contacting florists, photographers, and musicians who were willing to donate their services to make this dream a reality. "You know what's strangest?" Mr. Harrison commented as they prepared to go inside as night fell. "Since we decided to do this, I feel as if Luna is here with me again, as if I have finally found a way to make peace with her." Hope smiled, looking one last time at the rosebush that glowed under the moonlight. "She is here, Mr. Harrison, in every act of love, in every gesture of generosity, in every moment we decide to help others. Luna lives in all of that." Neither of them noticed the shadow moving in the second-floor window, nor did they see the eyes that watched them with a disturbing intensity. The storm that was approaching would be more devastating than they could imagine, but it would also reveal truths that would forever change their understanding of what had really happened the night of Luna's accident. Because what Mr. Harrison didn't know was that Amelia held a terrible secret about that fateful night, a secret that had been gnawing at her soul ever since, and that now threatened to come to light in the most unexpected way. Luna's wedding dress, beautiful and innocent, had unknowingly become the center of an emotional storm that was about to break, and whose consequences no one could predict. The first couple selected for Mr. Harrison's program arrived at the mansion on a sunny spring morning. Jack was a young carpenter with calloused hands but gentle eyes, and Sophia worked as a nurse at the city's public hospital. They had met when he was brought in injured from a work accident, and she cared for him with a tenderness that won his heart forever. Hope welcomed them at the front door, excited to be part of this special moment. Mr. Harrison had insisted that both she manage all aspects of the program, trusting completely in her good judgment and sensitivity. "Welcome," Hope said with a radiant smile. "Mr. Harrison is waiting for you in the main living room." Mr. Harrison stood up when they entered, and Hope immediately noticed the change in him. He was no longer the broken man she had found crying with the dress. He had a purpose, a light in his eyes that she hadn't seen since that first night. "Jack, Sophia," Mr. Harrison said, shaking their hands, "it's an honor to meet you. Hope has told me your story, and I am thrilled to be a part of your big day." Sophia, a young woman with brown hair and cheeks flushed with emotion, could not hold back her tears. "Mr. Harrison, we don't know how to thank you. We've been saving for our wedding for 3 years, but with my mother's medical expenses—" "You don't need to explain anything," Mr. Harrison interrupted gently. "Love deserves to be celebrated regardless of economic circumstances." It was then that Hope brought out Luna's dress. She had had it professionally cleaned and cared for it as if it were the most precious relic in the world. Upon seeing it, Sophia put her hands to her chest, overwhelmed by its beauty. It's really for me?" she whispered. "My daughter would have wanted a bride in love to wear, full of emotion. She believed that beauty should be shared, not kept in the dark." As Sophia tried on the dress in the master bedroom, transforming into a vision of elegance and grace, no one noticed the figure watching from the backyard. Amelia had been watching the mansion for days, waiting for the perfect moment to act. When she saw another woman wearing her beloved Luna's dress, something inside her broke completely. With her face contorted by a mixture of pain and rage, Amelia left her hiding spot and headed for the back door of the mansion. Hope was helping Sophia with the final adjustments to the dress when they heard a noise in the main living room. Raised voices, the sound of something falling to the floor. "What's happening?" Sophia asked, worried. "Stay here," Hope told her. "I'll go see what's going on." As she went down the stairs, Hope came upon a scene that froze her. In the center of the room was a woman she didn't recognize, with dark hair and intense green eyes, struggling with Mr. Harrison while screaming incoherent words. "That dress isn't for her. It's Luna's, only Luna's," the woman screamed, trying to snatch a small vial from Mr. Harrison's grasp. "Amelia, stop," Mr. Harrison yelled. "This isn't what Luna would have wanted." "You don't know what Luna would have wanted," Amelia retorted in a heart-wrenching voice. "You weren't even there when she needed me, when we both needed you." Hope approached cautiously, trying to understand the situation. "Mr. Harrison, who is this woman?" "This is Amelia," Mr. Harrison replied, not letting go of the vial. "Luna's fiancée." Amelia turned to Hope with eyes full of tears and fury. "And you must be the employee who is helping him desecrate my love's memory. Don't you understand? That dress is sacred. It should be in a museum, preserved forever, not being worn by strangers." "Amelia," Mr. Harrison said in a firm but compassionate voice, "Luna wouldn't have wanted the dress to stay hidden away. She was generous. She wanted to share her joy with the world." "No," Amelia screamed, and in a desperate move, she snatched the vial from Mr. Harrison. "If I can't protect her memory the right way, then no one will ever be able to touch that dress again." It was then that Hope realized what was in the vial. Acid. Amelia planned to destroy the dress rather than allow another woman to wear it. "Please," Hope pleaded, holding her hands out to Amelia. "Don't do this. Think about how Luna would feel if she knew you destroyed something she loved." "Luna is dead," Amelia sobbed. "She's dead because of me, and I should have died with her that night." Mr. Harrison was paralyzed. "Because of you? What do you mean?" Amelia collapsed onto the sofa, the vial trembling in her hands, and then, as if a dam had broken, the whole truth began to pour out. "That night," she began in a shaky voice, "Luna and I had a terrible fight. She had just come from seeing that architect who was threatening her over the documents about the faulty materials. She was scared. She wanted us to leave town together until things calmed down." Mr. Harrison approached slowly, his heart pounding. "And what did you say?" "I told her she was overreacting, that we couldn't run away from our problems, that we had a wedding to plan, and I wasn't going to let some documents ruin our future." Tears rolled down Amelia's cheeks like rivers of pain. She got so angry with me. She said I didn't understand the seriousness of the situation, that those threats were real. "And then?" Hope asked softly. "Luna left in a fury. She said she was going to go get the dress alone and then go straight to the police with the documents, no matter what I thought." Amelia doubled over as if the pain were physical. "Those were the last words she said to me. If you can't support me in this, Amelia, maybe we aren't ready to get married." The silence in the room was so dense it could be cut with a knife. Mr. Harrison sat down slowly, processing the implications of those words. "That's why she was so upset when she left the boutique," Mr. Harrison murmured. "She wasn't just worried about the documents. She was also hurt by her fight with you. If I had just supported her," Amelia continued, "if I had gone with her that night, maybe she would have been more careful. Maybe she would have seen the drunk driver coming. Maybe—" Her voice completely broke. Hope felt immense compassion for this broken woman. "Amelia, you can't blame yourself for an accident. The driver was drunk. The responsibility is only his." "But there was something else," Amelia continued, looking directly at Mr. Harrison. "Something I never told the police because I was too broken to think clearly." Mr. Harrison leaned forward. "What?" "Luna called me right before the accident. from her cell phone. She was crying. She said she loved me and was so sorry for our fight. She said a car had been following her from the boutique and that she was scared. Amelia looked at the vial of acid in her hands as if it were a venomous snake. I told her it was her imagination, that she was paranoid from all the stress. I told her to just go home and we would talk in the morning. The revelation dropped into the room like a bomb. Mr. Harrison stood up abruptly, his eyes filled with a new understanding. A car was following her? He asked in a tense voice. Yes, and there was something else in her voice, something I didn't understand at the time. She sounded like she was reading a license plate, whispering the numbers to herself. Mr. Harrison began to pace back and forth, his mind working quickly. Amelia, do you still have that recording? Your phone saved the call. I don't know, Amelia replied, confused. After the accident, I couldn't even touch my phone for months. It's stored in a drawer at my apartment. It was Hope who took the initiative. We need to check that call. If Luna really was being followed, then maybe the accident wasn't as accidental as we thought. Over the next few hours, Mr. Harrison used all his contacts to get data recovery experts to review Amelia's phone. While they waited for the results, something beautiful began to happen. Amelia, finally freed from the weight of her secret, began to talk about Luna in a way Mr. Harrison had never heard. You know what I love most about Luna? She told Hope while they had tea in the kitchen. Her laugh. When she laughed away, it was as if the whole world lit up, and she always laughed at the simplest things. A puppy on the street, a song on the radio, the perfect flavor of ice cream. Mr. Harrison listened from the doorway, feeling his heart fill with warmth as he heard these stories about his daughter. And she was so generous, Amelia continued. Once she saw a bride crying in a park because her dress had been ruined just before her wedding. Luna took off her own fancy dress, gave it to the girl, and went home in her underwear and my jacket, laughing like it was the most fun adventure in the world. Hope smiled. That explains why Mr. Harrison had the idea to use the dress to help other brides. Luna would definitely have approved. When the phone results came in, the truth was even more shocking than they had imagined. Not only had they recovered Luna's call, but they also found threatening text messages she had been receiving for days before the accident. Luna's voice on that last call was heart-wrenching. You could clearly hear her reading the license plate of the car that was following her, and then the sound of brakes, a scream, and the impact. But the most revealing thing was the messages. They didn't come from the architect who had threatened Luna as they had initially thought. They came from someone much closer, Mr. Harrison's business partner, who had been involved in the purchase of the faulty materials and feared that Luna would ruin his reputation and fortune. Mr. Harrison was in complete shock when he learned of the betrayal. Rodrigo, he whispered his partner's name. He knew about the materials from the beginning. He was the one who convinced the architects to use them to reduce costs. The police investigation that followed was quick and definitive. Rodrigo had hired someone to scare Luna, but things had gotten out of control when she tried to escape the car that was chasing her. In her desperation, she had crashed directly into the drunk driver coming from the opposite direction. When Rodrigo was arrested, he confessed everything. Luna had died not because of a random accident, but because she had the courage to stand up for what was right, just as Mr. Harrison had always known his daughter would. The trial was a media whirlwind, but Mr. Harrison found a strange peace in finally knowing the truth. Luna had died, being the person of integrity he had raised, and that gave him a comfort he hadn't felt since the accident. Months later, when the scandal had died down, Mr. Harrison, Hope, and Amelia met again in the living room where everything had begun. But this time the atmosphere was different. There was no longer unresolved pain or guarded secrets. There was only love, memory, and a shared future. Amelia, Mr. Harrison said, I want to apologize. If I had listened to Luna from the beginning, if I had acted when she brought me the evidence, none of this would have happened. Amelia shook her head. Mr. Harrison, we all made mistakes that night, but Luna wouldn't have wanted us to live in guilt forever. She would have wanted us to transform our pain into something beautiful. Hope smiled, looking toward the garden where Luna's rosebush shone under the afternoon sun. And what could be more beautiful than helping couples in love celebrate their love? That was how the wedding dress program became something much bigger than they had originally imagined. Amelia joined Mr. Harrison and Hope as a coordinator, contributing her knowledge of Luna's world and her own experience as a woman in love. Together, they created an organization that not only provided dresses and ceremonies, but also marriage counseling and emotional support for couples facing difficulties. Luna's dress traveled from wedding to wedding, carrying with it the love story of Luna and Amelia and transforming each ceremony into a testament that true love never dies, it only transforms. Sophia, the first bride to wear the dress, became an ambassador for the program, telling her story to other couples and helping to expand the organization's reach. Her marriage to Jack was so beautiful and full of love that it inspired dozens of other couples to seek help from the program. One day, while Hope was organizing photographs of all the brides who had worn Luna's dress, Mr. Harrison approached her with a thoughtful expression. "You know what I've been thinking," he said. "What, Mr. Harrison?" "That maybe Luna planned all this from the beginning. Maybe she knew you would come to the house that night, that you would find me crying with her dress, and that all of this would happen exactly as it was supposed to." Hope smiled, looking toward the rose bush that glowed in the garden. "You know what, Mr. Harrison? I think you're right." And in that moment, as if nature itself agreed with them, a soft breeze moved the branches of Luna's rose bush, releasing white and pink petals that danced in the air like celestial confetti. Amelia, who had been watching from the window, ran down to the garden. "Did you see that?" she shouted with tears of joy in her eyes. "Luna is telling us she's happy." Mr. Harrison, Hope, and Amelia hugged in the garden under the shower of rose petals, knowing they had found a perfect way to honor Luna's memory, not by selfishly hoarding her love, but by sharing it with the world, one wedding at a time. Luna's wedding dress continued its journey, carrying with it the story of a daughter who died defending what was right, a father who transformed his pain into generosity, a fiancé who found redemption in service, and an employee whose compassion had been the catalyst for it all. And every time a new bride put on the dress, she could feel Luna's love surrounding her, reminding her that true love never dies. It just finds new ways to bloom and grow, like the roses in a garden that never stops giving its beauty to the world. In the end, the wedding dress had become much more than a garment. It had become a symbol of hope, redemption, and the truth that even in the deepest tragedy, love can find a way to triumph and transform lives. And in the Harrison mansion, where once there had only been pain and silence, now echoed the laughter of couples in love, the whisper of eternal promises, and the permanent echo of Luna's love that had finally found its way to change the world. One wedding at a time. 10 years later, the main living room of the Harrison mansion had been transformed into a museum of beautiful memories. The walls were covered with photographs of hundreds of radiant brides, each wearing Luna's dress, with a smile that seemed to light up the whole room. In the center of the room, in a specially designed glass case, rested the dress when it wasn't being used, accompanied by a golden plaque that read, "In memory of Luna Harrison, who believed that love should be shared with the world." Hope, now with elegant silver hair framing her face, moved through the room with the grace of someone who had found her true purpose in life. She was no longer just the mansion's employee. She had become the executive director of the Luna Foundation, an organization that had grown beyond its most ambitious dreams. "Hope," Mr. Harrison called to her from the door. His voice was filled with the warmth he had developed over the years. In his 70s, Mr. Harrison had found a piece he believed was lost forever. "Today's bride has arrived. She's the 500th. 500 brides had worn Luna's dress over this extraordinary decade. 500 women who had walked down the aisle feeling not only the beauty of the fabric and lace, but also the eternal love the dress carried with it. That day's bride was special for a very particular reason. Her name was Elena, and she was the daughter of Sophia and Jack, the first couple helped by the program. Elena had grown up hearing the story of Luna's dress and had dreamed of wearing it at her own wedding since she was a little girl. "It's beautiful to see how history repeats itself," Amelia commented, entering the room with a bouquet of white roses freshly cut from Luna's garden. Over the years, Amelia had become the official gardener of Luna's rose bush, caring for it with the same love Luna had when she planted it as a child. The rose bush had grown spectacularly during this decade. It was now a complete garden with dozens of rose bushes that had sprouted from seeds of the original bush. Every couple that got married in Luna's dress received a small rose plant to take to their new home, thus creating a network of gardens connected across the country that honored Luna's memory. "Remember when we thought this would just be a temporary thing?" Mr. Harrison asked, contemplating the photographs on the walls. "I never imagined that Luna's dress would touch so many lives." Hope smiled, remembering that first night when she had found Mr. Harrison crying in this very room. "I think Luna always knew this would happen. She had a special ability to see beyond the present." The front door opened and Elena entered, accompanied by her parents, Sophia and Jack. Sophia, now a mature woman with laugh lines around her eyes, hugged Hope with a daughter's affection. "I can't believe it's been 10 years since my wedding," Sophia said with tears of emotion in her eyes. "And now my Elena is going to wear the same dress that brought me so much happiness." Elena was a beautiful young woman with golden hair and bright green eyes that were surprisingly reminiscent of Luna. She had the same radiant smile and the same way of lighting up a room with her presence. "Ms. Hope," Elena said with respect and affection, "I've waited for this moment my whole life. Could you tell me Luna's story one more time? I want to feel her spirit with me when I put on the dress." Hope took Elena's hands in hers. It was a tradition she had developed over the years, to tell Luna's story to each bride before she put on the dress so she would understand the responsibility and honor of wearing it. "Luna was a young woman just like you," Hope began in the soft voice she had perfected for these special moments. "She believed that true love had the power to change the world, one person at a time. When she chose this dress, she wasn't just thinking about her own wedding, but about all the weddings that would come after." While Hope told the story, Mr. Harrison and Amelia watched from the back of the room as they had hundreds of times before. They never tired of hearing the story because every time it was told, Luna's legacy grew stronger. "And what happened to Luna's fiancé?" Elena asked, as the brides always did when they got to that part of the story. Amelia approached with a smile. "Luna's fiancé learned that true love never dies, it just transforms. She learned to love Luna in a different way, by helping other people find the same happiness they had shared." Elena smiled. "And is she happy now?" "Happier than she ever thought possible," Amelia replied with complete honesty. Over these 10 years, Amelia had found a new way to love Luna, a way that wasn't based on possession, but on generosity. She had learned that honoring someone's memory didn't mean jealously guarding their memories, but sharing them with the world. When it was time for Elena to put on the dress, something magical happened, as it always did. As the fabric slipped over her body, Elena was completely transformed. It wasn't just the beauty of the dress that changed her, but the story it carried with it, the love of all the brides who had worn it before her. "I feel like Luna is here with me," Elena whispered, looking at herself in the full-length mirror Mr. Harrison had specially installed for these occasions. "She is here," Mr. Harrison said with conviction. "In every act of love, in every smile, in every moment of joy this dress has witnessed, Luna is present." Elena's wedding was celebrated in the mansion's garden and under an arch of white roses that had been cultivated specifically for this occasion. The groom, a young doctor named Andrew, couldn't hold back his tears when he saw Elena walking toward him in Luna's dress. During the ceremony, something extraordinary happened. A white butterfly appeared out of nowhere and landed on Elena's bouquet, remaining there for the entire ceremony. The guests murmured among themselves about the beauty of the moment, but Mr. Harrison, Hope, and Amelia exchanged knowing glances. It was as if Luna was sending them a signal that she was happy with what they had accomplished. After the ceremony, when all the guests were celebrating in the garden, Mr. Harrison found himself alone for a moment in the main living room, contemplating all the photographs of brides who had worn his daughter's dress. Hope approached him, as she had so many times over the years. "What are you thinking about, Mr. Harrison?" Mr. Harrison smiled. It had been years since Hope had called him Mr. Harrison. At some point during this extraordinary journey, they had become family. "I was thinking about that night, 10 years ago when you found me crying with the dress," Mr. Harrison said. "If someone had told me then that we would be here today, celebrating the 500th wedding, I never would have believed it." "Me neither," Hope admitted. "But I think Luna always knew this would happen. She had a special way of seeing the future."
I just finished
Amelia
the album
joined
for
them
this
carrying a new
decade, she
photo.
announced.
500 love stories, all connected by Luna's dress. As they flipped through the album, reliving each wedding, each smile, each tear of joy they had witnessed, the three of them realized something extraordinary. They were no longer the same people they had been 10 years ago. Mr. Harrison had gone from a man consumed by guilt and pain to someone who found joy in generosity and service to others. Hope had discovered that she had a natural gift for making people feel special at the most important moments of their lives. And Amelia had learned that true love wasn't exhausted by being shared, but multiplied. You know what's the most beautiful thing about all of this? Amelia asked, closing the album. That every bride who has worn this dress has added something to it. Her dreams, her hopes, her love. The dress is no longer just Luna's, it's theirs too. Mr. Harrison nodded. And each of them has carried a piece of Luna with them into their new life. In a way, Luna has been present at 500 weddings. She has been a part of 500 new families. That night, after all the guests had left and the mansion had returned to its tranquility, the three of them sat in the garden under the stars, next to Luna's original rose bush. What do you think will happen to the dress when we're no longer here? Mr. Harrison asked. It was a question they had avoided for years, but that now seemed important to address. Hope had been thinking about that recently. I believe the dress will continue its journey. We've trained many people over the years. Elena herself has expressed interest in continuing the program when she's older. And the rose bush will continue to bloom, Amelia added, gently touching one of the roses. We've planted more than 1,000 rose bushes across the country. Luna's garden has extended far beyond this mansion. Mr. Harrison looked up at the stars, feeling a deep peace he hadn't experienced since before he'd lost Luna. I think we've fulfilled our promise to her. We have transformed pain into joy, loss into a gift, tragedy into hope. In the following years, Luna's dress continued its extraordinary journey. Hope wrote a book about the experience, donating all the proceeds to the wedding program. Amelia eventually married a landscaper she had met during one of the ceremonies, and together they expanded the Rosebush program internationally. Mr. Harrison established an endowment fund that would ensure the program would continue indefinitely. But perhaps the most beautiful legacy of all was the transformation that had occurred in every person who had been touched by the story of the dress. The 500 couples who had been helped by the program had become ambassadors of love and generosity, creating a network of kindness that spread throughout the world. And at the center of it all, Luna's dress continued to be what it had always been destined to be. Not just a garment, but a symbol of the power of love to transform lives, heal wounds, and create beauty where once there had only been pain. The story had begun with an employee finding her boss crying with a wedding dress. It had ended with a legacy of love that would touch lives for generations. And somewhere in the space between memory and hope, Luna smiled, knowing that her love had finally found the perfect way to live forever. Thank you for watching this story. If you've been moved by this tale, you won't want to miss what we have in store for you. Like, comment, share this video with someone special, and subscribe to Crossroads of Fate for more stories that will change your perspective on life. Stay until the end because this story will truly surprise you.